What we have seen with, let's say, Mr. Beast, because I mean, he's the most vocal person about that. He's the guy who mastered all this A/B testing more than anyone else. He's A/B testing AI-generated thumbnails. He's A/B testing first 10 seconds of the video to increase the conversion rates. There are those companies who want to be able, like Mr. Beast, they want to A/B test how the actor should look like in the video. Higgsfield empowers data-driven experimentation as well. It's really exciting to see that some companies are willing to take a risk. We expect maybe most of the content on socials will be generated with AI. And then it's going to change the dynamics. It's just going to change the dynamics of like what's the CPM, what's CPA, and so on. Yeah, the product market fit is, my mother called me and she asked me, did you see that Madonna posted? But I think the reality is that we felt like we get true organic reach. I don't want to do clickbaits for you, but it feels to me that Adobe is in a huge trouble.
That's product market fit.
Product market fit.
Product market fit.
I called it the product market fit question.
Product market fit.
Product market fit.
Product market fit. Product market fit.
I mean, the name of the show is Product Market Fit.
Do you think the Product Market Fit show has product market fit? Because if you do, then there's something you just have to do. You have to take out your phone. You have to leave the show 5 stars. It lets us reach more founders and it lets us get better guests. Thank you.
Alex, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure for me to be here.
I'm excited to chat with you. I mean, you're kind of a classic AI company is not the way to say it, but it's kind of like prototypical successful early stage AI company, right? Like raised a seed round, $8 million a year later, just raised a $50 million Series A. Like these are like $50 million, dude, not long ago was like, I mean, it was a Series C, but certainly a Series B, you know, like a good healthy Series B was 50 million. So it's pretty crazy what's happening in AI. And you're in the AI video space, of which there's a few companies. So I'm curious to kind of dive into what it is that you're doing, what you're seeing, where you're focusing on. Anyways, we'll get to all of that. But maybe as a first question, give me just a little bit of your background, like maybe the years before you started Higgsfield. What were you up to?
I work in the video AI space for the last 10 years. So I graduated in 2015. I had some experience with neural nets back in Yandex. And since then, I work on image and video AI. So sold my previous company to Snap. In my previous company, we built technology to make face filters run real time on mobile phones.
Are you responsible for the filters that are on Snapchat today?
Some.
That's pretty crazy, man.
Meaningful part of technology for sure, as we enabled this new type of experiences where every pixel is generated with AI. Before that, it wasn't possible. There were like these, you know, like these bunny ears. They were done through just 3D tracking, not through like end-to-end AI generation. So we enabled these net new capabilities, and ByteDance and Instagram, they didn't have those. So it contributed meaningfully to Snap daily active users growth. And in the same time, I was always thinking how this technology can actually empower advertisers.
We'll move to all that, but actually, the filters is just such a common thing these days. And it's one of these, like, never would have thought it would have blown up the way it did. Like, people love filters. They love to use this stuff. Maybe just tell me a little bit more about that first company. Like, how did you end up doing, you know, AI video filters? And then how do you, because it's not an easy product on its own. Like, it's great technology, but then how do you actually go and get traction? Like, I'm just curious how that all happened.
Look, I think the face filters really were completely novel. Like these AI generate face filters, it was something absolutely novel. Although when I look in China, the state of face detection, it was really state of the art even back 2016. I think in China they had these surveillance systems everywhere. And the reason why I bring this up is the development of these surveillance systems and face detection overall requires to train those models to differentiate from real humans and like synthetic media. So actually a lot of surveillance system innovation coming from China propelled synthetic media developments across the world. So, and I think in China there were very sophisticated deepfake systems even 2018, which is, so you cannot spot the difference from the reality. We took this in a completely different direction, right? We made it fun. Interestingly enough, so this Ghibli style, which led to OpenAI popularity, we had something very similar, not just Ghibli, but general anime style and Snapchat. And this was the first major success of AI-generated filters. Another feature which OpenAI launched recently is called cameos, where people can insert themselves. Interestingly enough, we had Cameo's products within Snapchat as well. So I feel that there is some, it feels like a circle, like meaning that the stuff which was done 5 years ago can be just redone with new technology, and that OpenAI is running this again. Although at Higgsfield, we approach this completely differently. We empower professional social media marketers to make videos with AI, fully synthetically, without physical production.
We're going to move to Higgsfield, but just maybe one more question on your previous company. How did you end up partnering with Snap initially?
We had an SDK. Back then, the SDK was look. It is not something to be really proud of, but it was like these face stickers, and really be like a replacement for maybe or alternative to GT. Around that time, you probably remember that Google acquired a company called Tenor, and also Meta acquired Jiffy.
Yes, Jiffy, that I remember, right?
And then they had to divest Jiffy. All in all, this space was very active, and this gave me a great insights. That's probably one of the key business learnings, is that there are many external forces which actually form the markets. So it's way easier to ride the wave rather than trying to create one. So I think we were quite fortunate that there was a lot of movements in the markets in a segment which is adjacent to ours. And that's how we're able to get the commercial interest, but then entering negotiations with all those companies.
So you ended up selling the company to Snapchat. How long do you stay there?
Almost 4 years. Snap is an amazing company. I mean, Evan is probably one of the best fundraisers in the world, probably one of the best product designers in the world. He's definitely the best product designer I have ever worked with. So Evan is a genius. He is no longer a teenager. I think he understands needs of different user groups very, very well. Also, Bobby, obviously, he was my direct manager. He's a very nice person, very passionate about AI and developing the community. The team at Snap was amazing. I mean, Jack Brody now is CPO at Suna, and I see many other ex-Snap people working in the space of media AI.
It is pretty crazy what they've accomplished with, what was originally sexting app, but certainly like a communication with disappearing images app, and then to turn it into something that's really like young people. I mean, it's kind of the default place that they go, and just all these different experiences. It's one of these, like, from the outside looking in, you might not understand it. If you're a big Snapchat user, it just becomes kind of seamless.
I think they made multiple product innovations more than almost any company in the world, really. I think it just gets harder and harder. A lot of innovation today really requires AI. And frankly, you probably can see Snap's stock price and the gross margins are relatively thin compared to Meta. So I think for Snap, it's way more difficult to innovate, to bring new innovative products with AI capabilities. They still do work a lot in the space of image generation. Although, I mean, my bet is very simple, that video tells a story while image doesn't. I simply believe that there are going to be many more stories told using generative AI in video formats.
What year did you leave Snapchat?
It was September 2023.
And do you leave to start Higgsfield?
Yes.
Tell me about the origin story. How do you come up with Higgsfield, the idea?
First, I think I knew Yerzad since childhood. So I grew up in the city called Chelyabinsk. It's a city in Russia, but it's on the border with Kazakhstan. And my father is from Uzbekistan. So I naturally very much affiliated with Central Asia. And there is a competition called Zhaoptikov Olympiads in Kazakhstan. Yerzad was one of the top kids in physics. So I was one of the top kids in programming. And that's where we met each other for the first time. And then over time, we didn't maintain a relationship closely, although he was a very prominent figure in early reinforcement learning space. And when I dived into this space of these large models, I realized that ChatGPT success is really attributed to reinforcement learning as well. And I just went through whole my address book to find people who are actually good at that. And Yerzad was one of them. And then our early investors at Higgsfield, they definitely helped a lot to make this happen. Several people kind of introduced us, helped us to build these bonds, helped us to assemble like maybe the initial team of 5 AI engineers, which are still in the company. So, and then we decided to go full steam ahead in November, I think. In December, we signed our first term sheet. So it was the seed round led by Menlo Ventures. And then recently we raised our A.
But walk me through, I mean, just like, it's one thing to figure out who you want to build with and maybe the general space of, obviously you saw ChatGPT and GenAI and everything that was happening, but did you pick video at the outset and like why video?
So first and foremost, I think that's where I have unfair advantage personally, as I spend more time in the video AI space more than anyone. Second is, I think I understand the problem of SMB marketing teams really well, just based on all the time I spent on Snapchat. And third is, it felt to me back then that the space of LLMs is pretty much formed. So October 2023, it felt to me that it's going to be difficult for anyone to really compete against Anthropic or OpenAI. Most infrastructure companies we talk about together, Base10, Model, they already were quite strong even back then. And there were many, many others as well. So it felt to me that LLM space is already very overcrowded. Coding space is something where I and Yerzad share a lot of passion about. I mean, this space felt overcrowded as well. And it felt to me that video AI is a completely new space where we can just jump very early and then ride the wave.
What was the vision for like the first product? Because you talked about SMBs as being kind of the ICP that you had in mind. What did you want to do for them?
Oh, this is a really good question. First and foremost, I think I was always impressed by the success of TikTok and CapCut. Because it really started from TikTok being one of the largest advertisers on Snapchat, and then TikTok, 3 years forward, is the largest social media in the United States. And on average, users spend 90 minutes in TikTok, while on Instagram, I think it's 47 and Snapchat around 29. This is the publicly available data. So, and they achieved this just in 3 years. Most importantly, YouTube, Meta, Snapchat, they don't have video editing capabilities as CapCut provides. So that's why it felt like CapCut clearly doesn't capture all the use cases.
Maybe tell me a bit about CapCut, because for those people that aren't, let's say, big immersed into video, they might not use it or kind of know like exactly what it does.
Yeah, for sure. So let's maybe start from Adobe really. So Adobe is like a massive 300 billion market cap company, where most of the revenue comes from Photoshop. And the reason why they achieve that is Photoshop is perfect solution for image editing for professionals and for non-professionals. Like, let's say people who need to make some poster, they still can use Adobe. We still saw that Canva came out and they took over some other use cases, like especially related to graphic design and presentations, which actually Adobe couldn't cover. But Photoshop is generally an amazing tool. In the video space, it's not like that. Adobe is very, very vulnerable, as Premiere has great penetration across professionals. Like, I think NPS for Premiere across professionals, think about people who are editing movies, I think it's extremely high. But Adobe After Effects and other video tooling, I think it kind of falls short, and it doesn't really cover, let's say, prosumers and individual professional creators. It only covers people who work in large teams. So, and it feels to me that there is a massive segment of video markets which Adobe doesn't address at all. And CapCut addresses maybe the most casual creators with a lot of AI native functionality, like adding captions, removing noise from audio, and so on. Surprisingly, CapCut, I think, is top 10 applications in the world. It was never possible to achieve that if you're just a near tool. Typically, all the top applications, they either have like utility, like Uber, for example, or they have directly associated utility, or it's a banking app, because, large banks, they, especially in some other countries, they have over 50% market share. Or it must be like a social network. I'm still shocked how CapCut achieved that. I think there is definitely some connectivity and network effect between like TikTok and CapCut, but I think it's still very, very exciting. So over a year, we did experimentation in the space of mobile apps. As I was trying to figure out the secret sauce, how CapCut is so successful. And then we actually saw, I think September or October last year, actually saw that more and more people who work on just social media videos, they use CapCut on desktop. So CapCut also built their desktop version. And I started to notice more often and more often that CapCut is actually being used on desktop.
Oh, because originally people were using CapCut and they're editing on mobile, because it's mobile video in many cases.
Yes. And I think that back then I realized that look, it's very difficult to change. I mean, GenAI doesn't change the economics. When I look at like free to paid ratio for OpenAI, even outside of India and Southeast Asia, we still talk about 5-6%. It's very similar to any B2C SaaS, really. And we all know that historically mobile apps are relatively hard to monetize as they have like just less sticky usage patterns. And also we know that most of the work in SMB marketing teams, it still requires some rounds of approval and collaboration, which is simply impossible to achieve on mobile. That's why we decided to launch Higgsfield.ai, which is a web-first solution. And since then, we're riding this wave of crazy growth.
Are you kind of like, I think it was called Sketch or something like that, like Figma to Sketch or Figma to Photoshop, but this is what you are to CapCut? Is that kind of a way to think about it?
The way I see the companies, like major agencies, we talk about like top 10 agencies. Most of them, 9 out of top 10, they use Higgsfield. The way how they do that, by the way, they don't use Higgsfield exclusively. They obviously use our competitors. I talk about companies like Runway and probably Midjourney. So what happens is all these systems are used very actively for storyboarding. The budgets for storyboarding are contracting, and no one has resources to really do this manually, so they have to leverage GenAI. But then it gets uploaded to Miro. So I think Miro definitely capitalizes a lot on all these AI image generation use cases and storyboarding, and generally on brainstorming. That's bread and butter for Miro. So for us, there is definitely a goal to make sure that these AI native teams, they can run the whole production within Higgsfield. And when I say AI native, I actually mean teams who make synthetic media. And like there are lots of companies which still do shooting, like with physical production, and then they use Higgsfield to generate like VFX effects. This is interesting segment, but this is not necessarily what we are pursuing. We are pursuing those AI native creative marketing teams, and we empower them to run the whole production cycle, including collaboration, approval process, all within Higgsfield platform.
But do you replace CapCut, or is this on the side of CapCut? Like they end up using both?
The most popular software or like website, whatever, which used alongside with Higgsfield is definitely CapCut. Because after those shots are done, there is some final touches regarding color correction, maybe audio alignment, which still needs to be done in CapCut.
And then walk me through these use cases. Like you're talking about, the main use case for Higgsfield is people that are building completely AI generated video. Is this like you're shooting some longer video or whatever and you need the B-roll and this is the main use case? Or is it like entire minute clips that you're putting on TikTok and it's fully AI generated? Like what do you see is the top use case for Gen AI video these days?
Totally. So by popularity, I think brain rots is the most popular one for sure. By brain rot, I mean like all these videos with cats stealing kids, like it's absolutely crazy. It's a separate universe. Most of this content is animated, and that's not what we are pursuing. We are empowering social media marketing teams to talk about their brands, and that still needs to, it's always synthetic. In the same time, they care a lot about consistency and product placements. It's getting challenging to get actors of various demographics. Like, for example, it's difficult to find 50-year-olds who can shoot TikTok-like video, although it's very easy to do this with AI. So a lot of brands today, they are creating their own AI spokesperson and then enable storytelling with product placement and consistency throughout the video. I think the sweet spot is maybe 20, 30-second long videos. That's where Higgsfield really shines. And the goal for us is to really make sure that the teams can start getting more value from social media. Let me please zoom in here. So what we have seen with, let's say, Mr. Beast, because he's the most vocal person about that. He's the guy who mastered all this A/B testing more than anyone else, I think. Because he's A/B testing AI-generated thumbnails. He's A/B testing first 10 seconds of the video to increase the conversion rates. Where Higgsfield is definitely ahead of everyone else is Higgsfield empowers data-driven experimentation as well. So it's very early, but there are those companies who want to be able, like Mr. Beast, they want to A/B test how the actor should look like in the video. For some demographics, Alex may be a good spokesperson. For most other demographics, I think Pablo would be a better spokesperson. And then there are maybe 10 other variations of spokesperson whom a brand want to test. And then I think there is a question, how can we orchestrate this across different social media channels, how we can make sense out of the data. Those are the questions which social media advertisers ask themselves, I think, every day. It's very difficult to make sense out of multiple campaigns running across multiple channels. And I think this is where Higgsfield thrives. I think today Higgsfield is already used a lot for experimentation, and we're adding data layer on top of that and more automation layers on top of that. So that's especially SMB, they can leverage the most out of the advertising on social media and really leverage like A/B testing frameworks.
But that means you can go all the way from producing a video to actually through Higgsfield putting it out on social media, getting the feedback back, and then just saying like, what, like change this shirt, change the skin color, change the this, whatever, like iterate on a bunch of different things until you find the video that does best, and then that's the one you really put money behind?
Yes. And this is what top advertisers are doing today. So, I mean, top advertisers on Meta, I think I'm not sure this is public, so I will give you high-level numbers. So I think on average, company which spend over $10 million in advertising on Meta, they're launching more than 10,000 new ad creatives every year. So, I mean, like, let's say it's 250 days which people like maybe really work. And we really talk about really high pace. We talk not about just 4 or 5 videos a day. We talk about at least 40 videos a day. And this requires some level of automation. Most of the companies today cannot do that. And I think as it requires a lot of manual labor. And I think eventually platforms like Higgsfield will empower creatives to scale the production, but also to make sense out of the data.
And just as an example, like, so we had Hydra on the show. I'm curious, like, where do they play relative to you guys when it comes to GenAI video?
So first and foremost, I think Hydra is enabling net new type of experiences, which Midjourney or Higgsfield doesn't enable at all. So I think they enable real-time experiences as well. So it's very difficult for me to talk about other companies. I just really want to acknowledge that real-time experiences, like talking to avatar in real time, unlocks huge amount of use cases from product support, customer support, entertainment. And I think then there are some companies which are working on real-time video generation, which is another set of the use cases. In the social media space, it's still, there is like this, sweet spots, maybe for smaller teams to post from 5 to maybe 20 videos a day. When I say 20, I just mean that if an account is small or the budgets are small, you wouldn't get data for more than 20 videos, right? I mean, you need to have meaningful size and the budgets to really run data-driven operations at the scales of hundreds of new videos a day. I think we're in these sweet spots where we're empowering organizations to make between maybe 10 and maybe 200 videos a day. 200 is for larger organizations and maybe for smaller organizations. And eventually the goal is to make them successful on social media.
We have tens of thousands of people who have followed the show. Are you one of those people? You want to be a part of the group. You want to be a part of those tens of thousands of followers. So hit the follow button.
And I'm curious then on your take, this is just an interesting space that's developing. Like when we think about AI generated video on social media, where do you think this goes? I mean, obviously everybody knows about Sora now, Meta AI, these are like AI only worlds, let's say. And then you've got TikTok or Reels or whatever it is, where frankly, it's probably some kind of a mix. But I guess my question to you is it everything going to be AI? Or are you going to have a separation of AI here, human here? Is it going to be a mix? Like, where do you think that kind of goes?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, I want to give an acknowledgement here first for YouTube, because they are the only company who actually maybe like a week ago, they said that they want to fight AI-generated deepfakes. I think that's what they said essentially, maybe in softer terms, but I think they actually fight for authenticity of the content. And this is not easy because YouTube and Meta, those are really cash printing machines, which never existed in the world. We expect maybe most of the content on socials will be generated with AI. And then it's going to change the dynamics. It's just going to change the dynamics of like what's the CPM, what's CPA, and so on. And it's really exciting to see that some companies are willing to take a risk and really do things right, while most of the companies clearly are going to be, they will be clearly guided by revenue opportunities. And I think it's very hard to predict that. I simply believe that it will be difficult for smaller platforms to make own GenAI video generation systems. And essentially companies like Pinterest, Snapchat, and many others, they really will have to have some AI generate capabilities. We already see smaller advertising technology companies using Higgsfield through API. Our API is not released yet. It's coming in the next few weeks. As we want to make sure that those advertising technology platforms can leverage Higgsfield technology as well.
But I mean, Snapchat's an interesting one, right? Because Snapchat, like, it's real time. I mean, and obviously there's a social network component, but a lot of it is more of a messaging component where you're talking to people that you know really well. And so you're using filters and these sort of things, but it's not like you're trying to go, 10 million views like on TikTok. But I guess like on a TikTok or a Reels, you fast forward 5 years, just seeing where things are going, being at the tip of it, is it 80-90% AI and that's just, we just kind of accept that that's the way it is? Or is there any reason to believe that people are just always going to want to see, more humans? I kind of jaded. I'm like, I don't really think so, but I'm curious. I'm curious where your mind is at.
Look, I think that content on TikTok today is not like, look, maybe TikTok is fine, but I open my Instagram Reels feed. It's not really diverse. And I think the content on socials is not diverse. When I look in Hollywood and TV space, there is way higher diversity across various genres. Clearly, vlogs and like just shooting my own life is an important segment. It's not going to go away. I think it makes a lot of content on socials today, and it's going to get just more diverse, and AI is going to be an enabler of that. So great podcasts going to stay. People who have unique perspective in the world, they will say people like Mr. Beast are gonna stay because he is pushing the limits with social experiments. People like iShowSpeed are going to stay as well. I mean, he's just a media personality. People always want to watch humans, but I think there are lots of people in the middle, like I would say, maybe like this. I mean, it's always called messy middle, right? Where like those creators will be challenged with AI, and we are actually embracing that there is new type of AI creators who probably are very good in storytelling. Maybe they're not just nice looking as you are, right? And then or they cannot behave on camera, like they cannot like really come up with like hundreds of shows as you do, and then they just get these new opportunities for expression.
I took you on a crazy tangent there just because I find the space so fascinating. But let's go back. You raised the seed, $8 million, and you have this idea for GenAI for SMBs. What do you do? Like, what is MVP number one? And then ultimately, how do you launch that?
So first thing, it felt like we need to start with AI-generated humans and just see how it works. We developed a lot of technology related to... We had like image generation, we had video generation, we had character generation. Then we really got deviated but to be honest, I think this is the problem with the mobile apps. All these apps where like people can upload photos to people and make them kissing each other, hugging each other. Then also all these use cases related to the, relive your memories. Look, I mean, this just drives a lot of adoption. We kind of left the course, to be honest, because we saw that these simple use cases drive a lot of adoption. And it felt like this is what market is selling us, but there is no real business in that.
So you were powering these like kind of consumer, like play with your friends and create funny images. Yeah.
Yeah, this is absolutely right that we decided to deviate from that, to be honest. Frankly speaking, is OpenAI clearly want to take these markets. There is no doubt about that. OpenAI want to be winner. They're willing to subsidize regenerations. That's why I'm actually very happy that we decided to not pursue this anymore. And I think today, when it comes to the like Higgsfield core use case, we found a way to drastically differentiate, let's say, from OpenAI and from Google. So
when did you make that shift? Like how long did you go down this path, and when did you decide to not play that game anymore?
So we started to work with major publishers in the world. We actually saw the place of short-form dramas as well. Short-form dramas is now a $10 billion market. It's enormous.
What is that? Honestly, I don't even know what's a short-form drama.
Oh, I can give you a very short scientific fact sheet. So dramas itself is the most popular content formats in the world. And this is true for the last 100 years. I mean, it's true for our mothers, grandmothers, grandmothers. So for female, it's definitely absolutely dominating. Although I believe that across the man, it is the most popular genre as well. Maybe the margins is a little thin, but it's still the most popular content genre in the world. So then over 40% of people in China have to spend at least 60 minutes a day on commute. And the public commute system is next level in China. It's not like what we see in, let's say, LA or SF. It's more like New York level, but think New York, but cleaner. And then what happens is those people, they have to spend times. And the adoption of mobile phone in China is crazy. So, and people, they don't like to hold phone like that. They don't want to hold it horizontally. They want to hold it vertically. And essentially, these short form dramas are just 100-minute long videos, which is based on some of the popular fan fiction or some middle tier books.
What's short form about that? Is it 100 minutes? It's like a movie.
Absolutely. That's a good question. Many people call them vertical drama.
Okay.
But the format is completely different. I mean, essentially, they have higher average revenue per paying user in month one. Think about it, than Netflix. It's absolutely crazy. Netflix invests so much in originals, absolutely novel stories, like unique IP. These vertical dramas, they don't have any of that. In the same time, they're very heavily monetizing upfront. Retention is a huge problem. But then they can monetize user like $30, $40 in the first month. It's absolutely crazy. The way how they achieve that is they slice these 100-minute long videos to 1-minute long segments, and then they show paywall every 7th video. So the way how it works is, at first you think, oh, $2, but I just really want to see if that's going to be that stupid or it's going to be okay. So you kind of watch already 7 minutes, you pay $2, $3 to continue watching. And then around maybe a minute, like 13 or 14, they try to involve new characters. And it's actually not just one storyline, but maybe 2 or 3 storylines. And at least one of those storylines is a little bit interesting. You know, you think, I'm going to pay more. Since you already invest like over like, 15, 20 minutes, it feels like, oh, like maybe I will buy a subscription just for the first month to finish watching that. But then I'm going to cancel. And then you kind of finish watching that. They're going to give you some free perks, very aggressive gifting system as well. So I think these guys, they just completely hack user mindset. Although what's important to say is that this is a net new media format. Most of the dramas today, I mean, books are all about vampires, werewolves, so it's fantasy. And the AI-generated dramas are naturally going to come as well. I think like, there is no reason why like books are all about fantasy dramas, but all these vertical dramas don't have any fantasy dramas yet. And also what's interesting about this space, we see already that the companies in this space, they do create your own adventure type of the contents where users sort of can influence the story. It's obviously not exactly, it doesn't exactly work this way, but conceptually they leverage that a lot. And this is a strong lever for them to monetize even more.
And this is something that Higgsfield is powering or going to power, is kind of the AI for this?
We were considering that.
Okay, I see.
And then what happens is we realize that those companies actually are content machines. These companies actually make tens of thousands of ad creatives a month, not a year, as I was telling you before. They make tens of thousands of new ad creatives a month. So we built some proof of concepts where like AI generated ad creatives can outperform non-AI. And we realized that we shouldn't even like think about short dramas. It's very narrow segments. We should play at broader space of social media advertising.
When did you decide to go all in on social media advertising?
January this year.
And how did you go to market on that?
Look, I think back then the market was completely different.
Back then, right? Like it's 10 months ago, but it's crazy how fast things move.
It's crazy. Yes, it's absolutely crazy. Now there are like 6 copycats of Higgsfield. Back then, Higgsfield felt very authentic. It felt like they typically care about camera control, they care about VFX, and they want to access all the best models. This is as simple as that. There are like just movie directors, they have set of techniques, and no one did this for video AI, but also professional creators, they want to access all the best models. But it's difficult for them to keep up with that. And we built a layer on top of other models, but also with Higgsfield proprietary models. And we felt like this is going to be absolutely novel solution. And we decided to work with AI educators to promote the system.
Tell me a bit more. Yeah, tell me the specifics. I mean, go-to-market is just the thing that every early stage founder really cares about. So we'd love to go deeper on that. Like what exactly did you do to get your first, 10, 20, 30 customers?
Absolutely. So let's maybe start with Midjourney. Like, I think this is where we spent a lot of time analyzing that. There are lots of people who just naturally love animated content. Think about anime, cartoons, and so on. And Midjourney just found a way how to become the most popular technology platform across these demographics. There is definitely a downside of that, as they had to make sure that the most popular styles can be reproduced very precisely on the platform so that the fans can kind of recreate that so that they can engage. So basically they got a lot of fan fiction, all these people who like to do their own version of the same story. They want to do their own comics and so on. They got a lot of this audience really, as they were the place to really build animated content, but also content made in a specific style, which is very trendy. So I think that worked really well for us. I think in around March or April, there were models which actually could do product placements. And we just really seized the opportunity. There are so many creators on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, who actually are AI educators, who tell audience how to make contents, how to leverage all the best tools. And we just made sure that we can position ourselves to be the best platform for this use case.
Is this a paid thing? Like you go to these creators and you pay them to talk about you? Or is it just a matter of being the best for that use case and they just do it organically?
It's a good question. We started to engage creators very closely only in September. I will tell you, it is not very easy. So our marketing team is total 6 people. It's not a very large team.
How many people in total, by the way, at Higgsfield?
Total in Higgsfield is probably 60 people today. 6 of them in marketing. Most are AI engineers and engineers. So then initially, all the creators were posting for us for free. There were maybe just a few where we had some affiliate program type of the arrangement. Most of the posts were absolutely free. So organic to paid ratio was 5-1 or 6-1. Now it's more 2-1. So although there is a challenge where we start working with more creators and we put this affiliate program even further, there is a little bit of the challenge that we cannot fully control which content they make. These agencies, they can really try to find some controversial topics to get higher CPM and so on. So for us, it is always a challenge, right? On the one side, we invest ourselves a lot in educational contents. But as we work with affiliates, we want to make sure that, we don't lose the momentum. And Higgsfield is used for various use cases, not even just social media marketing. But in the meantime, we want to make sure it's done responsibly. So I think this is definitely one of the key areas of internal discussions we have. As affiliate program becomes a little harder to control.
What's the cost? Is it per seat, per month? Is it per video? And regardless, how much does it cost these days to create a minute-long AI-generated video?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you go and just hire an agency, let's say you go and hire an agency in Southeast Asia. That's where we, by the way, see it's a completely net new economy in this region. They will charge you $3,000-$5,000 per video. Typically, I think they would estimate that production and post-production are roughly cost the same, as they will do some work in Premiere to make the video look really good. If you go to the teams in the United States, then the price tag starts from $30K. It's still way cheaper than the physical production, although it's not very democratic. So if you hire someone in-house and you task them with making maybe 2 15-second long videos a day, they will be successful with that. So prompt engineers in Southeast Asia, they may have a rate around $3,000 a month. So you can get to meaningful velocity. I talk about 40 videos a month with relatively modest costs. If you are running these operations in-house, you can really get to the cost of good-looking video, maybe under $100 a video for socials. This is exactly what those large brands pay to TikTok creators today as well. So when we talk to brands, they all do pretty much the same playbook as we do in Higgsfield, as they work with those marketing agencies and running an affiliate program with them. We're basically paying by performance, but there is still some base cost per video. And typically this base cost per video on TikTok starts from maybe $50 per video. This can go as high as $300 per video. So AI generate videos are roughly the same costs. In the same time, it unlocks completely new type of visuals which was like never possible. And also it also allows you to kind of keep more operations in-house, because managing these external creators and whatever they produce is very difficult. So I think there are lots of benefits for marketing departments to build maybe smaller size in-house AI native teams for content production.
And then how fast have things gone, like in terms of revenue or like numbers of videos that you're generating a month?
I'm not sure I can talk much about that, but I'm absolutely surprised to see that on average users spend over 10 hours a month on Higgsfield. I don't want to do clickbaits for you, but it feels to me that Adobe is in a huge trouble. Remember that where I started is like Photoshop is used by everyone on the image side. What we are seeing today is that a lot of image editing happens with AI models as well. Like instead of just, like downloading from Higgsfield, uploading to Photoshop and back, people use models like our recent popcorn models, or maybe a Google Nano Banana model, or maybe ByteDance model to edit image with prompts. People are making like thousands of image editing operations on Higgsfield demand. It's absolutely new economy. That's why I'm telling you, it's like the market today, but before that, we kind of didn't feel that the whole workflow can be done on Higgsfield. Now we feel it's more and more that it all can be done on Higgsfield. I'm very surprised by that.
Perfect. Well, let me stop it there. I'll ask the 3 questions we always end on. Maybe the first one is, when did you feel like you had found true product market fit?
Yeah, the product market fit is, my mother called me and she asked me, did you see that Madonna posted effect made with Higgsfield? I know this is more like a joke, but I think the reality is that we felt like that we get true organic reach by professionals. So we have seen other major creators posting as well, and it told me that it resonates. So it's not just our go-to-market efforts and creator program. It's not just that. I mean, it seems like the product is definitely resonating. In the same time, I think we are challenged to redefine ourselves every 3-6 months, to be honest. The space is evolving so quickly. We see that major companies like ByteDance, Google, and OpenAI, they care about that space. The default choice for every professional will stay with Google. No one ever gets fired by using Google models. I just guarantee you. The same with Adobe. So we have to win by faster pace of innovation and iteration. That's why, I think the product is live almost for more than 200 days. And we still push updates, like product updates, every day except Sunday. So like on Saturday, we do all the silent releases where we improve UI, UX, which is not going to viral on socials. Although on X, we make our best to post every day and show our progress.
And then on the flip side, was there ever a time in the last few years, couple of years doing Higgsfield, where you thought things would just not work out and you might just completely fail?
Of course. Previous year, complete struggle. I think there were some moments, maybe like a few days last year, where it felt like things are working. Most of the time, it felt like things are not working at all. And since I am the CEO, I obviously felt like I'm just taking company in the wrong direction.
And then last question, what would be like your number one piece of advice for an early stage founder looking for product market fit today?
This is a great question. The way how I think about that is, look, I have a few hot takes. So first of all, there are lots of companies who are raising like gigantic rounds, like seed rounds of like $100 million, $200 million at a valuation of $1 billion. I think it's very difficult for me to see any other company than OpenAI and Anthropic being competitive in the foundational model space. It's just very, very difficult for a startup to be a foundation model company. I don't want to say anything bad about companies which are trying to do that, but I just personally don't believe it's possible. Then it all is about value creation. So I think ultimately, every founder working in the space of GenAI needs to ask, what is the value which this model unlocks to my customer base? And how can I kind of shorten the tax on learning this tool? Because all the tools, all the models, they have some taxation on learning it, right? It's not easy. And that's why having like very strong UX, like product designers, and have like this product-oriented front-end engineers become critically important. because they need to develop the experience. And then there may be internal AI team and prompt engineers. They can build some automation. But it really all starts from deep understanding of customer problems and asking the team and yourself always every day a question. How do these new models, which typically come out every week, how do they make this workflow easier? The way how I see that, it's a net new technology, and the pace of it's critically important to keep learning every day.
Perfect. Well, Alex, thanks so much for jumping on the show, man. It's been great having you.
Thank you.
Wow, what an episode. You're probably in awe. You're in absolute shock. You're like, that helped me so much. So guess what? Now it's your turn to help someone else. Share the episode in the WhatsApp group you have with founders. Share it on that Slack channel. Send it to your founder friends and help them out. Trust me, they will love you for it.